All right, today we're heading somewhere pretty intense. We're heading inside Tihar jail, South Asia's biggest prison complex. I mean, this place is basically a city in itself, packed with everyone from small-time crooks to the most notorious criminals in the country. But, according to the people who are actually there, it's also a place where a whole lot of souls are trapped. Forever.
Now, this isn't just some friendly advice. This is the #1 rule for making it through the night in Tihar. Seriously. Because if you break that rule, what you see, well, it might just be the last thing you ever see. You see, inside Tihar, everyone, and I mean everyone, inmates and guards alike, they live by this unwritten code. A code that's born out of pure terror. It kicks in right around 2 a.m. when the prison's other court is in session. And this one has no judge and definitely no jury. Just imagine that for a second. You're lying there in the dark and you feel this stuff. You hear these sounds. But you know, deep down, the one thing you absolutely positively cannot do is open your eyes and see what it is. You just have to lie there and take it. But you know how it is. Rules are made to be broken. So let me tell you about a guy named Rahul. This was a hardened killer, scared of nothing, and he definitely didn't believe in ghosts. He was about to find out, the hard way, exactly why that rule exists. All the other inmates, they warned him. They told him what would happen. But when he heard a woman's voice, sobbing his name in the pitch black, his curiosity, maybe his arrogance, it just got the best of him. He opened his eyes, and almost instantly he felt it, this immense weight. And I'm not talking about guilt. This was a real, physical pressure crushing down on his shoulders, like he was carrying something unbelievably heavy. He completely freaked out, scrambling to his feet and bolting for the washroom. But this laughter followed him. It echoed in that tiny little space, coming from everywhere and nowhere all at once. And then he looked up into the mirror, and he saw he wasn't alone. There, perched right on his shoulders, was a woman with a half-burnt face, her dark shadow just laughing and laughing right at him. Now look, this story about Rahul is a legend, a fictional account, but it's based on countless, genuinely terrifying stories that are whispered up and down the cell blocks of Tihar. It's the ultimate cautionary tale that every new prisoner hears.
And what happened to Rahul? Well, it's not some random thing. These hauntings are tied to very specific spots inside the jail. Places that are so feared, even the guards think twice before patrolling them alone at night. So there are 2 areas that are especially infamous, and each one has its own dark story. You've got Cell Block 6, the women's area, which is supposedly haunted by one very angry, very tormented female spirit. And then you have Cell Block 3. That used to be the execution yard, a place where they say the ghosts of the condemned still hang around in the shadows. Over in Cell Block 6, the female inmates talk about the nightly return of a woman who died right there, swearing she was innocent till her last breath. They say her agonizing screams and her ghostly shape, seen literally running along the walls, are a constant source of terror. Cell Block 3 is something else entirely. That's where they used to conduct the hangings. Now, guards will tell you about whispers right in their ear, and inmates claim they see the ghosts of the men who were hanged still dangling from ropes that aren't even there. So, are these all just stories? Spooky campfire tales for inmates? Well, in 2020, something very real happened that cranked up the fear to a whole new level. So much so that science actually had to step in and try to figure out what was going on. After those incredibly high-profile executions, the reports of paranormal activity just went through the roof. It wasn't just in blocks 3 and 6 anymore. The entire prison was gripped by this panic. Almost every single inmate was reporting something strange. So they sent in psychologists to investigate. And for all the ghostly figures people were seeing, they had a scientific theory. Phosphene flashes. It's this idea that when you're under extreme fear, your eye's retina can literally create an image, a flash of light, out of absolutely nothing. Your fear creates the ghost. And what about that terrifying feeling of being pinned down, of being choked? They had an explanation for that too. Sleep paralysis. It's a real thing and it's horrifying. It's when your mind wakes up but your body is still asleep, so you feel paralyzed and you often hallucinate. Okay, so case closed, right? Science has it all figured out. But here's the thing. The inmates, they didn't buy it. Now for a second, and they came back with one simple but really powerful counter-argument that the experts couldn't just brush aside. Their point was actually pretty compelling. They basically said, okay, science can explain what one person sees or feels, but how does it explain a shared experience? How can hundreds of people, all locked away in their own separate cells, all hear the exact same scream at the exact same time? And that, right there, is the unsettling question this whole thing leaves us with. Are the horrors of Tihar jail just the echoes of restless souls, trapped by violence and pain? Or is it the human mind itself, caged in darkness and filled with guilt, that's powerful enough to create its own ghosts? What do you think?